Hey friends. If you were on the live stream a moment ago, I lost connection, and the last time that it lost connection like that, I went on to speak for like 40 minutes and it only recorded like the first 15 or something. So if I lose connection again, I'm just gonna say goodbye. And I'm going to remove the other false start. Thank you for your patience while I am reorienting. Talk about reorienting a lot. And our ability to orient into our space, into our physical body, is really important. Delete. And frankly, I don't think I was very well oriented in that first attempt today. And it feels a little bit better now because I had to get myself together. Yeah. So good morning, good afternoon. It is 12:12 p.m. on Wednesday, July 30th. And I am coming to you from my physical office in Johnson City, Tennessee. This is the private treatment room, and sometimes you see me out in my big movement space. And there's value in both. And there's value in having them right next to each other so that it's easy to move from one place to the other and to allow them to coexist for me and for the people who choose to come in here and work with me, because they will thrive, excel, support different functions. And I find that really valuable. So it is a busy office in the day today, a busy day in the office today. See how they just start to become interchangeable? And so I have suite mates and they have clients, and I'm able to come in here and be quiet and contained with you all. And right before I came in here, I was out in my big space and I was doing some body work with myself, stretching and yoging and working on some things that I've been working on. And being able to move easily between talking to you and working with my body and existing within a larger space all at the same time feels like good exercise. Feels like good exercise to my mind and my body and my nervous system. And it all comes back around. I have been getting so much out of my rubber bands and just working with them in this way, feeling opening, feeling tension, feeling the intentionality that I have to sustain if I'm going to hold this and move in whatever way. Maybe I'm going to push the ceiling up. Maybe I'm going to push the floor away. Maybe I'm going to push this away. Maybe I'm going to pull it in. But I have to intentionally keep that posture, which forces a more intense, more gravity to that intention. And that's running through the circuit. And so by creating these intentional points of focus and interaction between the mind and the body in the context of a more complex task and environment is exercise. And it allows us to expand more consciously into our body and into our environment. And being able to find the balance between how hard am I working out here at the periphery and how hard am I working up here and what's happening in between. Trusting that what's happening in between is going to be good and healthy and comfortable because we're controlling the level of intensity that we're putting into that task. Don't work too hard. Don't work too hard on any of this. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be fun. I like to believe that my spirit came into my body on purpose because it would be fun. Like riding a roller coaster, taking a mud bath. Let me just come into this three-dimensional world and roll around in the mud and like fluids. All, like so many fluids, right? It's all fluids. Fluids and bones. Fluids and bones. Your first two fingers here have a fusion membrane between them. They're held together by non-elastic soft tissue. So when we strengthen that complex straight across the wrist, very protective for wrist health, for carpal tunnel, grip strength. These are things that science will let us know are important. And if you are here, there was somebody here a moment ago, say hello. Say hello. Have a question. Have a question. I'm here for it. Last week I talked about stackables, this idea of stackable tasks like the breath, the yes, the no, the hands posture is another stackable. It's another variable of complexity in this system that we can play with. And we can tweak it and we can calibrate. What am I doing right now? I brought a ball in today because this is a different kind of task that, frankly, I haven't spent like any time with, to just find that. And this is a pretty small ball, and it's not slippery. This is a Pilates ball. It's got a little bit of texture on it. So it's not like a super impressive thing to be able to maintain that. But if I stack it, maybe I'll make it a little bit farther away from my body. Maybe I'll elevate it a little bit. Maybe I'll elevate me just a little bit. I can do all of that. Maybe I can come back down again. And then I might even find an oscillation while I'm breathing and stack all these tasks together just to see if I can, just to explore that. And if I can, then I'll say yes to it. And I will say no when I'm ready to stop, just to make sure that those movements stay available to me, even in a complex, unfamiliar task. This is how we update the operating system. We have the technology. This is a 5-pound ring. Might toss it around a little bit. I might play with some of that arc. And when we're doing weight-bearing movements, start small and select something that is going to be really comfortable and easy to manage as you explore your capacity with it. A can of soup tends to, I'm just playing with it, a can of soup tends to be a good starting spot. It's just enough weight that we can have this proprioceptive connection, this conscious, intentional thing that's happening that stays comfortable and easy. In all directions. We know where the weight is, and we know which way is down, and we know which way is up. And we can bring these things together and create an intentional experience inside of the body. And when our body has a tangible experience, there are physiological, energetic events within the body mechanism that reflect that. Heart rate, respiration, blood pressure, blood chemistry, glucose metabolism, inflammatory mediation, digestion, all the things. Especially like anything that has to do with the endocrine system. Endocrine system is hormones, and hormones do everything. And it's all mirroring off of our felt experience via the autonomic nervous system. That's what polyvagal theory is all about. The vagus nerve, which is a brainstem nerve, meaning that it is very deep and very old in the system. It's been there a while. And it moves through the neck. It moves through all of this. It talks to the heart space. It talks to the gut. It talks to the pelvic space and viscera. And mostly it's just listening. Mostly it's just listening. It is listening to how things are going. How do we feel down there in the dark? How do we feel in the dark, in the cave of solitude that is our inner subjective experience? The vagus nerve listens. And the vagus nerve is not the only modulator of the autonomic nervous system, but it is a significant one. And I really like the polyvagal framework as a way to conceptualize these different states, because the vagus nerve is listening, 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 and then something happens. There's an event, there's an experience, there's something that changes, and the autonomic nervous system notices that and makes a decision about what needs to happen. What is the appropriate response to this change, to this perceived stimulus? What is the appropriate response? Is it something that is threatening to our survival? Is it something that is aversive, that we are averse to? Is it that kind of a stimulus? Or is it something that delicious? Let me move towards that. Let me get some more of that, like our little planarian that we talked about last week. He goes towards the good stuff and leaves what he needs to leave in his wake. And then he just keeps swimming. One of the contributing factors to the upper shoulder, upper neck issues that I often see is that tension that doesn't go away. This is a way to fatigue it. Use that tension. It'll go away. Do some work. Let it recover. Do some work. Let it recover. Keep your yes and keep your no. And keep your feet. And keep track of which way is up. Which way is down. Don't work too hard. It's supposed to be fun. What else? A little bit of numerology on the board today. Little Venn diagram. Having, right, we know what a Venn diagram is. We got section A, section B, and this area in the center where they overlap. And that gives us 3 spaces coming together. 3 vectors, maybe. I think that's, yeah, not 3 spaces, but there's a convergence that occurs. And what it does is it gives us the presence of a third. We had 1, then we had 2. Now we have the presence of a third. Mind and body working together. Two sides of the body, left and right, working together. Gravity, directionality along gravity, up and down, working together. And when we can find that overlapping space, that doorway, the door into my big space, the doorway is right here. When we can find that doorway and find our way back through that moment of integration, it's a lot of energy right there. There's just straight up, let's go do something. That impulse. There's inspiration, there's creativity, there's playfulness. There are those yummy feelings that maybe don't feel quite as available when we're feeling threatened, when we are under-resourced, when we're too tired, whatever. When we're hurting, when we're sick, whatever. Whatever the reason is that your brain tells you, oh, that's not available to me. Right there. Whatever reason your brain tells you that this is not available, I challenge that. I challenge that. And that doesn't diminish any of those stories. Your stories are real. They are valid. They are important. They are so important that your body's been holding on to them for dear life in some cases. So we get our body and our intention working together to sculpt a new trajectory, a new baseline, a new set point. Because you all have seen this stuff before. We're not doing anything groundbreaking in here. So here's, right? How many markers can I hold at one time? And I don't even know where I put the black. Here it is. All right. So here's baseline. When we are above the line, maybe we can think of that as section A. When we are below the line, maybe we can think of that as section B. When we are activated in a threat response, in a physiological event of threat response, action required. Let's think of that as red. I kind of flipped them though. Maybe we'll think of it as blue. Action. No, that's got to be red. So here's B. Here's A. Below the line. Rest and digest. And then we get activated again, which is normal and healthy and appropriate that we get activated by our environment. And so it mobilizes energy in our system so that we can respond to it. And then we get regulated, and we get safe, and we calm back down again. And over time, this baseline emerges, and every sort of like expectation that we have there, we can think of that like a set point. This is what's normal. And over time, here we go. On our ability to be creative, on our capacity for agency, to be like, okay, this is my subjective lived experience. There are gonna be ups and downs. That's okay. We regulate that, we calibrate that, we sculpt that over time intentionally on purpose. Breathe like you mean it. Focus like you mean it. And then reorient as needed to come back into that intentionality, and you will redesign your relationship with your body. You will redesign your relationship with your health. You will redesign your relationship with you. I think it's pretty important. I think it's pretty important. There's a lidless marker in here somewhere. I'll find it. We're at 29 minutes. And what I said I wanted to talk about today was balance and executive function. I think we got there. I think we got there. I have written on a board on my I think we talked about this. Oh, this is the one was the one that I talked for 40 minutes and the thing only captured like the first little bit. So I hope that this was captured today. Emotional metabolism is what I like to think of as when we have that physiological event, when we get that external stimulus, we have a physiological response event, we have to metabolize that activation. We have to digest the energy that was just mobilized in our body. And that's what emotional metabolism means. And we can only deal with so much at one time. Every single one of us has a particular finite physical capacity, somatic capacity. And we can exercise our capacity using stackables. So that feels like we brought it back around. That's what you all missed from the last live. Yes. Okay. Thank you for being here. If you've made it this far into this week, say yes or no. You can say what you like. You can do what you like. You are a conscious being with agency. But keep your yes and your no available to you, even when you're doing other things. And then see what that opens up for you. And let me know. Love to hear about it. I'm easy to get in touch with. We have the technology. And thank you so much for receiving this, and I will see you next time.